Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast, sponsored by the Draft Professors. I am here with three incredibly gifted draft professors. I'm betting on the fact that you guys are all really good.
Betting.
We got Dalton Blackman, Owen, Newt Weston. We're going to be discussing the players at the combine, but we're going to do it maybe a little bit differently. We're going to talk about things like fastest 40 times, etc. But Dalton, it's been a little bit since we've been on a podcast. We did a Raiders mock maybe a week ago, but how have you been and what's going on in Raider Nation?
Good. So, just been doing a lot of Raiders mocks right now over at the Raider Ramble now that they have a coaching staff in place and we know kind of generally what we're going to be expecting scheme-wise. Plus, the mock drafts are fun because you can copy every time you make one, you can just copy and paste the first round.
I was just going to ask that. I mean, it's got to be easy.
Yeah. So that's been kind of fun, and then just been getting ready. Just been doing a lot of gambling picks over on Degenerate Sports Network, doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and Owen and Newt do this every year before the combine, and when I remember that you had your own gambling thing that you did. I'm like, so let's just make it a party here. But Newt, do you want to explain this podcast and what we're going to be talking about to everybody?
So I think it's going to run somewhere where we're talking about the drills that you're going to see at the podcast and some of the, the more fun ones. You take a look at like your vert, your broad for explosion, your 40. Obviously, everyone loves that. And then the bench. And who do we think is going to, top out some of those? If we want to do the agility drills, we can. But after that, I know Owen has seen into the future and has a pretty good idea of what some of the lines for prop bets might look like. These are not official, but some of the prop bets might look like. So we'll talk about that as well. That's where I'm excited to hear what Dalton has to say because I got a lot of opinions on the draft, but if a guy is plus 350, I don't know how that makes it where I should bet on it or not as far as the data to support that they're going to set the fastest 40 this year, anything to that effect. So excited to hear that piece.
Okay, and just as a disclaimer to everybody, I don't gamble, but I find it absolutely hysterical to talk about who's going to run the fastest or like score highest. But I think there is a legal disclaimer to say if you are taking any advice from the people on this podcast about what to gamble on, first, don't do that. But second, gamble responsibly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you want to add any additional disclaimers?
Don't listen to my advice. That's my disclaimer.
Yeah, no. I for everybody else watching this, absolutely do not to put bets on any of these lines or take anything I say, especially as any kind of betting advice. But I will be taking action from anybody who's on this call right now. These are my lines, and if anybody you want action, I'll take your action.
I love that.
I do have a take about the 40-yard dash if we want to get kicking off with probably the most popular.
Let's go for it.
So my take for this, and I've been cooking this for a bit, is that it is the single most detrimental part of the offseason circuit for the draft process for the NFL teams, specifically. To be honest, the tape doesn't lie for the most part. Where the guys are going to run fast, you can see on tape. If they can run away from guys on the field or outrun guys and outrun angles, you're okay. That guy's fast. I don't need to know what his 40 time is. I can see that he's fast. The only thing that the 40 time does, besides being a spectacle for people to watch, is trick some teams into thinking guys that are fast, but that's all they are. But since they have the low 4.2s or mid 4.2s, they'll be game breaking, and then they don't. The Tyquan Thorntons of the world. I'd even throw an Xavier Worthy into that bucket. Jalen Hyatt's stuff guys who run just super fast, and all of a sudden they get overdrafted because of that. Or you have players that teams are not willing to take shots on because they run slower than you expect, and it swings so much opinion when if you just looked at the film, you could for the most part see what these guys are running. So I think it's the single most detrimental when it comes to stock and how it impacts all the decision making.
Yeah, I would even tend to agree. And I would even say that, like, one of the things that almost makes the 40 time a little more obsolete today is now that we have next gen stats, kind of, and you can kind of track how fast a guy is running in game, which is much more realistic. I feel like if you're going to put any weight into like actual like numerical speed data, you would just want the miles per hour they run with the ball. Like,
Yeah,
that would
pads
probably
on
make
anything
more
like that.
I tend to agree with that, and I like that. I like the 40 because I think it does a decent job of confirming. I think if you're going to be quick without pads on, you're going to be quicker with pads on, like an apples to apples comparison. However, one of the things that I like tend to also like to see that with, and this is not me saying this for the first time. I got it from Trevor Sikkema. He probably got it from someone, but if a guy's fast, that's awesome, but don't count his speed twice. If you see him being fast on the field, that's phenomenal. If you see him being fast on the 40, that's phenomenal, and it confirms what you see. It's not like, oh, let's put another tick next to him in there. It just confirms what you already know. For me, honestly, I'm looking at it, and I don't mean to shit on a player, but like at Damani Jackson, for me, he's going to be fast as hell at the combine. I didn't see the play speed on film, and so with that, I'm looking at guys that maybe I have a little bit of discrepancy on, or I am looking maybe for them to either prove what I'm seeing or to create a discrepancy and maybe have that drive me looking at that a little bit more. Or like with Damani Jackson, like I know he's fast, but I don't necessarily see it on the field. Be one of those things where, I see what I see on film, and that's kind of where we're going to go with for there. So I do like it from the sense of it drives that conversation, but I think that, there you got to put it within a little bit of a scope.
Yeah, and I think like as we get into the grading, right, where different positions, you have different athletic ability grades. Last year, EJ pointed out something. So like EJ had a really low grade on Marcus Siegel, who was a safety. And Siegel actually tested really well at the combine. So EJ said, I have to go back and rewatch the player because I don't see that speed on tape, and my athletic scores for the player were really low. So EJ was able to use the combine to say whatever he saw on film and graded for athletic ability, the combine told him that he was wrong, and he had to go back and rewatch the tape. The player still didn't run fast in the game, right? But it can be used to confirm or make you go back and rewatch somebody if the scores or the times that you saw don't match the grade that you gave them for that specific trade.
Yeah, I think you laid it out a lot really good is like, you use it as a tool to confirm things. You don't use it as a way to bump it up. Like I know for me, nothing a player does at the combine improves their stock or drops their stock in any way, shape, or form. I don't change their grade based on the combine at all. Whereas like the Senior Bowl can do that because it's, full padded practices. You can see them in a game scenario. But what it does do, like Jim was saying, is that like if there's a discrepancy, I will go back and watch them. Or on the flip side, if I'm getting to the dog days, about to be the end of the draft cycle, and I'm just trying to find the last few guys to watch, I just sort it by who are these freak athletes at the combine. Let me get some eyes on them. And let me tell you, as someone who didn't have this opinion previously about the 40-yard dash, and then would go do that and just sort by who is the fastest 40-yard dash guy. Let me watch them on tape, and I'm like, these guys don't look fast at all. Like it would just be player after player after player. I'm like, I don't see this, especially for some of the guys that are lower down the board that just ran fast to run fast. So. There's a lot of guys where they specifically dedicate all their time training for that one event. And then you look at the tape and you're like, okay, you're obviously playing heavier and you run way slower. Where was the speed on tape?
Yeah, I think that that's kind of the conversation to have when you got a guy that, and I'm not saying that guys actively do this and it's like every single player, but you see a lot of guys that will get to whatever a solid weight is for the combine because that combine weight carries a lot with it. Especially guys that are looking to trim down or to be a little bit heavier, like your wide receivers, your cornerbacks. They want to be a little bit thicker, and then maybe they'll run their pro day when they're a little bit lighter. Guys that know how to manipulate the system. I'm not saying that it happens like crazy. However, you're going to run a lot different with 10 fewer pounds on you, 5% less fat than you are when you're coming in and you want to be at that. So like, and like Dalton said, and kind of where it goes to that, when you see it on the field, you're seeing like them in that game, and you're seeing what they're doing right then and there. When you're taking a look at this, it does have a little bit of a different scope on it. However, it's still fun as hell to talk about. I still love watching a guy run the 40. I agree with Owen that there is that detriment to a guy, but it doesn't make me less excited to see when the Packers get the fastest guy at the combine.
Well, and I remember watching Matthew Golden run at the combine. So I was in Indianapolis last year, and I was sitting like next to Bill Carroll and a few other draft professors. And I believe Golden ran like a sub 4.4, didn't he?
He ran a 4.28 or 4.29.
Yeah, okay, so it was a sub 4.3.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, okay, he just made himself $1 million. Right? Like that was $1 million run that he had, because I think from the film, nobody thought he was 4.2 something fast. Yeah. They just thought he was fast.
Yeah.
So there is that. And I think this year for me, that player is Ted Hurst. Dalton, what do you think Ted Hurst is going to run in the 40?
I mean, I think Hurst is somebody that, I mean, to me, like if he's low 4.5s, that's impressive to me at his length, with his lanky frame, kind of. If he ends up being, I think low 4.5s is what I would expect. If he ends up being a sub 4.5 guy, he might climb really high in this draft. Like he might be a early second round guy.
Yep. And Newt, how about you? Are you in the 4 or 5 for Ted Hurst, or do you think the film showed you that he was faster?
I have yet to put eyes like in a study on Ted Hurst. I know the size. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. I'm with Dalton. Where? What do you want from me? I'm trying to get my big board out.
You can't have a top 10 wide receiver board if you don't watch Ted Hurst.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't watched a receiver yet. That's like my next position group up.
Okay.
I can't say much. I haven't watched Omar Cooper Jr. yet, and he's been mocked recently.
What I saw at the Senior Bowl, like exactly with what Dalton said, he's a big guy. Like he's gonna be a guy that I want to toss it up to. If he has any inkling of speed to him and he has that frame, I mean, we're talking about a guy that could really push because of that explosive speed, because of that frame, to be able to be at deep threat downfield. So I'm 100% agreeing with Dalton on that.
Okay. And then Owen, where do you think Ted Hurst runs based on what you've seen on film?
I genuinely thought he would be easily 4.4s for me, because like he does have that longer stride, that gait where you're like looking at it, and for a lot of these guys, especially at lower levels, it's going to be, if they have the long legs, they can usually get some distance. But he does have foot speed that I think is genuinely really good, especially after the catch. So from him just being able to put his head down and run, I think he should be higher 4.4s. If he, I think there is a world where he cracks a 4.3 in like a 4.39 type thing, and he's going to make himself a ton of money if he does that. Are we
going to put our first bet out there?
So I set Ted Hurst at 4.42 and a half over under.
Wait, what'd you just say?
4.42.
Oh, I thought. Are we going 4.42? I thought you were living in the 4.3s.
I said if he does that, he'll be a first round pick. He'll make himself some money.
4.42 and a half. I'm writing this down. I'll take the over.
I'm going to take the over on that. I think
if you take over on a time, is that faster or slower?
Over means slower.
You're higher. You're slower.
Yeah.
Got it. I did, like, that was the ignorance in me. I didn't know how to do that with a time.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. All right, I'm keeping track of this year.
No, Dalton, what were you going to add?
I think I'm worried that my concern is the tape. I'm just worried if he's looking faster just by playing in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, and that's always going to be a concern. I do think that's where the combine, like Ted Hurst, the combine is going to be like one of the guys that's going to make him the most money, because you're looking to confirm that. Like the Senior Bowl, I think helped that a lot, but I think the combine is definitely the raw numbers there will help you confirm that.
I thought I saw on Next Gen Stats that Hurst was the 5th fastest person with with a time at the Senior Bowl.
What did he run at the Senior Bowl?
For-
Game speed. He had
For miles per hour, right? For miles per hour.
He was like 20. He was one of the 5 guys that hit 20 miles an hour, I think.
See, that's the thing. Because Mike Washington Jr. was the fastest guy there, right? And I don't know with Washington Jr. Man, he can open up and fly. But I think that point comes when he has the ability. I think he's got more build-up speed. And when you take a look at the 40, you've got to be able to have that speed to kind of get going off the line. And that's where I'm not quite sure. This is kind of one where I'm kind of curious where people are with the 40. What LSU receiver will run the fastest?
Ooh, Aaron Anderson.
I hope it's Barron Brown. I'm growing a lot more on Barron Brown. I was a very big fan of his tape, but as more of a slot only guy. But then he was routing guys up in the 1-on-1s at at the Senior Bowl. I finally got to watching some of the Senior Bowl film, and watching that was just impressive. So I do think that if he can also run fast, he might be one of those guys that can sneak into day 2 as a slot only type guy.
Yeah, he ran fast at the Senior Bowl. You said Anderson, Dalton?
Yeah.
I like Anderson a lot. So I think with that, between all those guys, and you toss in Thomas and Hilton Jr., is there a world that exists where each one of those guys is a 4-3 guy?
I don't know enough about those other 2 guys
So
to know
Hilton
for sure.
Hilton was at the Senior Bowl as well, and he looked just as fast as Brown, in my opinion. I don't know enough about Thomas as well, but I know from scouting reports, he also very fast. And then obviously with Anderson and Brown, they are both speed demons.
Newt, is there a reason that you left Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State off that list?
He's talking about LSU guys specifically.
All 4 of those guys are LSU guys.
Got it. Okay, you were just focused on LSU. I misunderstood. Okay.
LSU only guys. And I talked about it on I just did it on a She Said TV podcast. I think the LSU receivers, I think there's a world that exists where all 4 of them might be 4-3 guys.
That's wild.
Yep.
It's a shame
Chris
there's
Hilton.
nobody that could get them the ball.
Or get them the ball more than 5 yards downfield.
So Newt, you know how when we do scouting reports, right? We're in the chat about should we cover player A or player B. Chris Hilton was on the wide receiver list. And Randall was like, why am I watching a player that only had 10 catches? So Randall chose to not even cover him. And then now we're talking about Chris Hilton. And Owen, that was one of the guys we covered over the summer. And he tended to, over the summer, he profiled to do things that you want your wide receiver 5 to do.
Yeah. He's that guy that just runs for love of game routes, takes the top off of defense, is not going to be, bitch and complain about not getting volume targets. He's going to be the guy that does the little things, plays teams, blocks his ass off, but is a good enough athlete that teams have to respect him. So if he runs in the 4-3s, it'll just confirm everything I thought about him before the season. The fact that he had such a bad statistical season this past year isn't going to scare me off, because what I liked him on previously won't change because of that. He was just a guy that did the dirty work. I'm not looking for him to come in and be a wide receiver, even a 3. He's your depth 4 or 5 rostered receiver that does everything for you. The Mac Hollins of this draft class for me. He's that.
I swear to God, Mac Hollins' name gets mentioned on this podcast more than anywhere else on the internet. This Wednesday night Draft Professor podcast needs to be sponsored by that man.
I would take a sponsorship from Mac Hollins.
It'll be a Mac Hollins shoe sponsorship.
Oh my God, it will be.
I ran into him when he was in Buffalo. We were tailgating, and we tailgated right next to where the entrance for the players come in is. And he walked by us barefoot in shorts with earbuds in, reading a book as he just walked past everybody. There's a video of it on my Twitter. But it was the craziest thing.
That's awesome.
I also saw Keon Coleman coming late to that game. It was the Jags game. Where he got benched.
Sounds about
He showed
right.
up late.
Oh my God.
So can we bet on somebody showing up late to the combine?
Well, so we can't bet on that, but I can give you some of the bets I do have in front of me here. And there are some fast guys here, which we'll talk about. And they're mostly concentrated in the wide receivers. I know you mentioned Devontae Jackson earlier, who's going to run fast. So the over under that I have set here is over under 4.27.
For the fastest?
I didn't catch it. Yes. Look, does anybody the fastest official time hit over under 4.27?
And this is just at the combine, right?
Yes, just the combo. We're not going to count pro days.
I'm gonna go over.
Yeah, I don't know if I think anyone's going to run under 4.27.
Is 4.27 what Worthy ran?
Worthy ran 4.21.
Yeah, Worthy was the fastest time ever.
Yeah.
So there's some people saying that Brennan Thompson is going to beat Xavier Worthy's record. I will take the under.
I am also going to take the under because between Brennan Thompson, who I still have to get eyes on, I know he's like a speed demon guy, but between him and that wide receiver from Oregon that Randall loves,
Malik Benson,
he's going to run fast. Some of the guys we've already mentioned that are going to be 4.3 candidates, including all those LSU guys. And then looking at even some of the DBs and like the next prop I'm going to give is going to be based on that. But like some of these other positional groups are going to run fast as well. So I do think that we'll at least have one guy go under 4.27. The follow-up to that would be this isn't like an over-under one, but like if you had to pick a positional group to run the fastest 40 time of this year's class, which positional group is it going to be?
Is this the average 40 time or who?
The single fastest time. What position groups does it originate from?
Wide receiver, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna
wide receiver.
I'm gonna say wide receiver as well.
So the odds I have is that wide receiver at plus 150, cornerback at plus 175, and then running back at plus 600, and everything else is plus 1,200 or higher.
Who's going to be the fastest for the running backs?
And I was about to ask the same question.
Like,
Who do you think is the fastest running back? Is it Nick Singleton or will it be somebody else?
I think it'll be Adam Randall, but I don't. I think he's going to run like 4 3s, and then everyone else is going to be slower than that.
Mike Washington Jr. did.
Do you think Washington Jr. will be like low 4 3s? I didn't even think of him. You're right, but
my problem with him is more so like the short area side to side stuff. You give him 40 yards and a straight line to run as fast as he can. I think he could definitely clip that, especially if he runs low 4 3s and he weighs in at like 210 plus to 220. That'd be something.
The Pitt running back.
Damon.
Is that Claiborne?
Claiborne, yeah, Damon Claiborne.
What do we think Claiborne's going to run?
I would say 4.5, 4.4, like high 4.4s, low 4.5s.
So
Claiborne's the Wake Forest guy,
fast.
Or Desmond
Reed.
Reed, thank you. I get those two mixed up all the time. Yeah, Desmond Reed. Claiborne, I think is that. I haven't put eyes on Desmond Reed.
Yeah.
All right.
What's your position?
Yet he's like 5'5".
Not
guy.
The only
Owen, what's your position? I gotta know.
I'm choosing wide receiver. The only reason the only player that can maybe even challenge that is would be Devontae Jackson at the corners, which I don't know if he's gonna be that fast, but that's what I've seen projections for him. Maybe there's like a safety that can like be stupid and run really fast, but like I don't think that's really in contention. I think it's gonna be receiver.
What did Eamon Warrior run last year?
He ran like a 4.34 or something like that. Like low 4 3s.
Damn, I didn't realize that was that fast. Like,
he was explosive, and he had like one of the craziest combine.
Well, the explosion is like I knew what really blew him up. I didn't realize his speed was that fast. That's insane.
Yeah, so he was a guy that he also ran fast. Like there was that, and you had other guys in the past, like even like a DK Metcalf ran like a 4.35 and 200 something pounds.
Yeah.
So Shane, thanks for stopping by. And Chris was also in he was at the 7 p.m. podcast. It's good to see Chris back for the 9 as well.
It's a hell of a mustache.
What do we think is the second most popular event for the combine testing wise?
Popular measured by who?
Just vibes.
Bench, I'm going vert. What is it, bench?
Vert, maybe.
I would go vert. I would go vert. You see it because I think it's got a very clear, distinct mark. Like if you're hitting 40 in the vert, people get excited about that.
It's fair.
Well, and I think to measure explosion, we would want to be talking about the vertical jump, the broad jump. To your point, I don't know that fans get behind that, but I think from a draft analysis standpoint, it may measure explosion better than the 40-yard dash.
Oh, it absolutely measures explosion better. I mean, both of those, like when you're taking a look
Yeah.
at it, I think to me the vert would be the top one, and that's like where you look at a guy that can do, I mean, like 43, 44, 45-inch vert. That's exciting as hell.
So we can go to the vert. I think for me, when it comes to like popularity
Yeah.
with the audience, for like the average viewer of the combine, I think bench press might be the next most popular when it comes to like what they're paying attention to. But they don't ever really highlight that one. It's kind of like, oh, here's the bench press numbers that they ran in the middle of the 40 or something. Like the other group was doing bench press while this group was running, or doing like drawn field drills. Here's the results, and like here's some highlights. Like I remember who was the Kansas State running back Barnes that like bench pressed like 25 times as a running back, and they were like, yeah, this happened, and then it kept going.
Well, the bench is like, that's the last event that they run, right? It's almost like, hey, here's your bench press, here's your goodie bag on the way out. We'll see you at the NFL draft. I mean, it does feel that way.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're there, I don't know that I saw anybody doing a bench press last year. Because I think that's not on the main field.
It's not on the field. It's like in a room.
So
It's
like
like their
I guess
weight room.
when you're there and you're on the field, like you see the receivers do the gauntlet. You see the 40-yard dash. I'm trying to think of what else I saw, like, because we could see the players jumping. You could see like they have that in a corner where they would have the players jumping. I would actually say,
What is that? Oh yeah, 3-cone.
yeah, and then I was actually about to say the 3-cone.
Yeah.
Everything about short area explosiveness, because isn't the 3-cone the one that predicts offensive lineman success? Like any offensive lineman that has ran underneath a certain 3-cone, like 95% of them turn out to be a viable NFL guard or NFL offensive lineman.
That would make sense just because of the flexibility and the ability to change direction quickly.
Yeah.
It's also a big one for like receivers. That was the big thing with DK Metcalf, was like he had all these crazy stats, and then he ran the 3-cone for some reason, and it was, like worse than half the offensive lineman. He ran like a 70+ second 3-cone, and they're like, "Why the hell did you even perform? Why did you even do this test?"
Yeah, that was probably before players knew they could opt out.
You'd think that
Also, someone like DK probably has probably never had a physical agility drill or like a measure of his physical ability that he didn't destroy.
Yeah, that's true.
fair. But so I asked that question so we can find the next pathway to our next props here. We can go to Vert. So obviously we had some crazy performances last year, but the line I have set here is there going to be the over-under is going to be at 44.5 inches for vertical, which is still high, but it's not like a crazy out of this world number.
Okay, so I'm thinking Domani Jackson, right, has a track background. And then I'm trying to think, there is another wide receiver that was like a track and field star in high school. I'm trying to remember who it was. It might be Zachariah Branch.
He would not surprise me. He's going to kill the 3-cone, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. You know who else I think is going to have a really high vertical, despite like the size? Casey Concepcion. I'm very curious to see what his vertical is. The way he gets up on 50-50 balls at his size and dominates them. I just think that I think he might jump really high.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I have a dark horse for this one. I'm going to go and say I think he's going to be over this. Eli Stowers.
Oh.
State champion high jump in high school. State champion high jump. I'm going to go ahead and say, I know it's different, but I'm going to go ahead and say his vert, I think he might eclipse that 44.5. I'm going to put that one out there.
So they're not adding any roller skating events to the combine, right? Because
Fortunately, not for Keith Abney, no.
No, Keith Abney is a roller skating champion, but that's not going to help him at the scouting combine.
No.
No, but you did kind of jump me for who I was going to pick for that, for who's going to have the highest vert. Because I do think he's a guy that level of explosiveness and has shown that at different levels. I do think he could be, and it's always usually a DB that leads the group. Like Eamon Rory was the leader last year. I know there was a corner or a safety that has the record currently. Like there's always a DB that usually has the record.
What is the record?
Well, that's a great question.
And also, where did we land everyone on the over under for 44.5? I'm gonna go.
I think there will be an over.
Dalton.
The record was set at the NFL Combine. Actually, I don't want to trust that because that's AI.
Jim, where are you at with it?
Oh, I'll take the over.
Okay. Oh, everyone's.
What do you guys think of Shane's comment here about Lemon jumping 40 plus?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. He's so explosive with the ball in his hands. That's what makes him exciting. I don't think he's like I'm gonna go up and get it kind of guy. I mean I think the 3-cone and the shuttle are gonna be phenomenal for him. Yeah. But no, that's where I'm at with that.
So the vertical record in the NFL Combine was set back in 2005 by safety Gerald Sensabaugh from North Carolina at 46 inches even.
NFL legend.
Oh shit! I'm like 46. Damn, I don't feel as good about my 44.5 anymore.
So the 44.5, the odds it gives is plus 140 for that to hit. Where usually someone's going to hit like a 44.6. Like these ones come down to decimals, where you're going to get somebody between the 44s and the 44.5 and 45. It's more so the 45 and ups is like an elite number, and is the other one I was given prompted for was, does any player hit 45 plus inches in the vertical?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm already like waffling on 44.5. I'm not going to say 45 too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about 45, but I could see it.
Yeah.
You're gonna go over?
I'll go 45. I'll go someone's gonna jump 45 this year.
All right, I love that.
We were kind of talking about with Lemon, but who's our picks for the wide receiver that have the highest vertical? Because that's usually the group that's the most interesting to look at for. DBs usually set the record or have the best jumps, but like the wide receivers are always the ones that people look at.
I'm gonna go Concepcion.
I need Newt to filibuster while I'm thinking of my answer.
You know who might be a sneaky good one? Because the vertical is based off your height. Like they take your height and then they measure how high you jumped from standing position. You know who might have a sneaky good one? Let me just double check, make sure he actually is going to be there. Yeah. Someone who might have a sneaky good vertical is going to be Deion Burks from Oklahoma. I don't think he's going to lead it, but he might have a sneaky good one. In comparison, at least his measurables.
I think overall, Deion Burks has a lot to gain at the combine.
Oh, 100%, yes.
He has a lot to gain.
So this is the wide receiver that's going to have the best vert.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ted Hurst. I think he'll have the best vert.
Okay.
I'm going to go with
I'm going to go with Trevor Pena from Penn State.
I am going to say I'm going to go with Zachariah Branch.
I'm surprised no one went with Fields, Malachi Fields.
I think it's
usually these jump ball guys are the ones that get it.
He's so big already. That's what makes him good at. Like I thought of Fields, but I think he's so good at jump ball because he's already big and he doesn't have to have the vert paired with that.
Yeah, but he does when he goes up to attack the ball, he hangs up there for a bit. Like him, like Tyson does it a little bit too, where they're already bigger guys, but they can also get up there. And that's why
I thought about Tyson. I don't think Tyson's gonna test though. That's my thought.
Yeah. So can we circle back to Malachi Fields for a second? Dalton, where's Malachi Fields on your board right now?
So he is he is my wide receiver. Where is he? I believe he is 18. Yeah, he is 18 now that I had to take a
And
couple
then
guys.
Newton Owen, you guys haven't finished your wide receiver boards because I think that's the podcast next week.
Wide receiver? No, that's no,
Or 2 weeks.
no, that's defensive backs.
Okay.
I knew we were
if
waiting
you-
for after the combine.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, do you guys have an initial grade on Fields?
Mine's my summer grade, and I was pretty favorable towards him. I've got I had a late day 3 grade on him.
You mean late round 3?
Yeah, that's what I said. I do that so much. I had a late 3rd round grade on him.
That's what I have.
Is that where you're at with him?
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel
Yeah.
like I'm decent about the grade. I don't have enough guys watch where I can effectively put him in there, and I still have to watch his film from this year.
So, and then Owen, where's Fields for you? And I recognize I'm asking a question before your board is done.
Yeah, he's also still with the summer grade I had, which was like a mid-round 3. I actually, to be honest with you, was kind of lower on him than I thought I was going to be because I watched him and Great House like back to back, and I loved Great House. But like I've just having him be the only one coming out of Notre Dame offense, I do think he'll be. I think I'm going to be a bit higher on him after I watch this upcoming season. But you won't catch me having him as early as like 26, like
So-
we've seen in mocks.
Okay. So Malachi Fields, Dalton, what does he have to run to keep him day 2 for you? And if he runs something under slower than that you would push him, like his grade would drop for you?
I mean, as long as he's not like high 4.6s, he's fine. Like as long as he's like, low 4.5s, I think, or high 4.5s, kind of like what we're probably thinking for him.
Okay.
That'll be fine. As long
I
as
was gonna
he's
say
not
4.6
4.6
was the number in my head where it's like
Yep.
I 4.9, 4.59 and lower. I'm happy with.
Yeah.
Like he's a possession guy. That's what he is.
Yeah. And even if he ran a 4.62, like at that point, that's not going to like scare me away. I mean, the tape, he's not winning with his speed. His speed's still good enough on tape that he can still be a down the field threat with his size.
Okay.
So
So
does
and-
Elijah Surratt need to run for everyone to be like, well, he's officially in like first round consideration?
A 4.2 because I don't think he's a first round receiver.
Oh,
That's
no.
I don't think he's a first round receiver. If he ran a 4.2, then maybe I'll open that door. But I know you really like Surratt end of the first round for Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, I have him as a high second. He's like wide receiver 5 or 6 for me, but specifically for the Bills, I'd like him. But like I've seen a lot of people like going to the Raiders to double dip at Indiana, where they go Mendoza in the first and then they go Surratt at the top of the second to kind of pair those guys back up. Which I've seen a lot of people also have backlash for, like even for him going that high. So like, does he have to run like if I set the line at, I don't know what's going to be disrespectful, like a 4.55? Or what are we taking there over under?
For Surratt?
Yeah.
That's like the one guy I actually put eyes on this year.
Yeah. Surratt, I don't know. I mean, I had him. He was at one point like my wide receiver 2. And now I'm like kind of falling on him a little bit to like more of a late first round grade. Just because, I'm worried about like the speed is part of it. And then also like, I mean, the body catching is just, national championship game. I don't want to put too much stock in one game, but that really kind of showed like how much of an issue the body catching is. Like some of those bad drops he had in that game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over on the 4.55.
For Surratt, I think he'll be under that.
I'm hoping he runs under that. I'll probably take the under just because I think he'll be able to focus a bit more on the training aspect. And if he's going to focus on anything to train for outside of like the field drills, it's going to be that specifically because I think that is going to be what people consider his weakest point. I think he'll be phenomenal when it comes to a lot of the other testing. Maybe not like great, but he's not going to have many question marks there. It's going to be coming down to the hands in the field drills, like the gauntlets, and then the 40 trying to get below that 4.55 mark for me.
So don't you bring your followers with you? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, Shane is one of my Shane is one of the guys I do the draft show and the gambling show with over at Degenerate Sports.
Shane, thanks for stopping by.
Shane, you just got a follow out of you, man.
All right, let's bounce over to the bench press. I know that was the other one that was kind of we were in contention with for that one. That's usually one where we can get some definitive numbers and we have a lot of information behind it. So the over under here is set at 36.5 for the max amount of bench press reps from one person. Like, what's the leader at the clubhouse going to be for this upcoming combine? 36.5.
Who's going to do it? Are we asking? Or
is someone going to hit higher than 36.5 this year?
So I'm twofold with this. I want it to be Jaden Roberts because I think everything about this dude is so incredibly freaky when you take a look at him being a weight room warrior. I know that like the arm length goes into like I'm like kind of getting the analytics of it. Like I know the arm length goes into that. I want Logan Jones to be a stud with this. I don't think he's like necessarily that strong. I'm going to go over. I'm going to bet on Jaden Roberts just being an absolute man among children. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that one for it. So 36 and a half. Did you put it at?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go over. And I'm going to say Jaden Roberts.
I'm going to say over as well. And I think Caden McDonald might get around there.
Wait, is Caden McDonald that much of like a weight room stud? I didn't know this.
I mean, he's just so. I mean, just based on the functional strength I've seen on tape.
No, I
I'm
respect
what
that.
it's going to be.
So just for some context from last year,
Ryan Sparks, it's good to see you step by.
Oh, that's funny. What
so
do you got, Owen?
For context from last year, the top two guys in the bench press last year was 32 and 32. And then it was 29, 28, 28, 28, 28, kind of a group of the high 20s. Yeah. So we didn't even have anybody come close to this number last year. And the top two guys were tight end CJ Dipre from Alabama, and then Ethan Downs, edge from Oklahoma. Jordan Phillips was at 29. Darius Alexander was at 28. Mike
Luke Kandra was up there, wasn't he?
Some of these guys.
Wasn't Luke Kandra up there?
Kandra,
my boy? The most forgotten name in the NFL?
I tried to warn you about that.
Yeah, well.
I'm not seeing him here. Maybe it was at his pro day.
Dalton, I was going to go Caden McDonald on the bench press.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he's going to be over 36.5, Jim?
Yeah, I don't know. Hearing the data from last year, I don't think realized it was that many. I might be walking back on the 36.5. That does feel like a lot, but I think he'll break 30.
I'm forgetting who the Feldman freaks are.
So if I'm going to take I think it's going to be under 36.5. I don't, after looking at what happened last year, I don't think we're going to get, we do have a good group of guys that are going to be able to lift this year, but I do think that it's still a pretty big number, especially in years previous. And this is probably one of those events that guys aren't prioritizing that much. But if I had to pick somebody to do it, whoa.
Hold the phone. So Draft Network's tweet from last year. NFL Combine O-line bench press reps. Luke Kandra, 33. Armand Membu, 31. Jackson Slater, who I said last year was going to be at the tops. I wasn't far off. He had 31. What list are you? Is this AI-generated list that you've got, Owen?
No, like, this is Pro Football Reference. This is Pro Football Reference.
They're also in on the Luke Kandra conspiracy. Because I remember he was a stud last year. He had 33 last year.
And still didn't get drafted.
That was bullshit, all right?
Newt's third round grade gets shattered when he doesn't get drafted.
Yeah, it did. Who was the guy last year? Who was like the Louisville? No, he was the Louisville defensive tackle that put up 44 at his pro day. He came from like Harvard. Bill Sparks loved him.
The D tackle.
Yeah. Dalton, do
I
you
liked
remember
him
this?
too. I can't remember his name.
I'm trying to remember. I gotta go back to
I'm
my.
pulling up the big board.
I
Hold
remember
on.
you it was like a guy was taking the video on his cell phone and they're like going nuts. He had I remember the number was 44. And he came from like Yale or Harvard.
There we go.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Thor Griffin. Thor Griffin, that's who it was.
Ryan Sparks, great call.
If I had to pick somebody to do it, I'm gonna go with Inez Cooper, the guard from Miami. That's like his MO is just power, moving guys, especially. And I do think that it's gonna be, especially for these lists or for this competition, like you'll have guys like Peter Woods. Oh, he hit 34. We had a ton of guys last year that like reportedly hit a ton of big numbers, and we went over last year, and it clearly didn't hit. But these guys aren't prioritizing this as a skill to train for, whereas the 40 guys are devoting their entire offseason workout to training for that. It's going to make you the money. A lot of these guys either won't do the bench press because they don't want to either A, get hurt, or B, be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Or they're just don't put the time and effort in there. Like, hey, we'll just show up, we'll lift what we lift, and we'll move on from there, kind of thing. Because like top two guys,
you're going under. I'm assuming.
I'm going under. Yeah.
Okay.
Like even like CJ, the top two guys on Pro Football References last year with 32 and 32, neither of them got drafted, even though they were top two according to this website.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is the guys that are going to do really well on the bench press. A lot of the top guys are going to be linemen and edge rushers that have huge arm length issues, which is part of why they're going to be able to bench a lot.
I'm sure that these players are told by their schools to do minimal testing so that more teams attend their pro day.
I'm sure they're also told by their agents too.
Well, so like something to think about, right? So think of like all of these combine snubs, whether it's, the Navy player Landon Robinson, and we can come up with a bigger list, right? Well, if you have teammates that didn't get combine invites, but you want scouts to see them, you're going to skip doing the combine drills so that the scouts have to come to your pro day, and they'll also see your teammates, and I'm sure the schools will compensate the players for making that decision.
I've never thought about that.
Right? Like, I mean, because ultimately the school wants to get his exposure to as many of its draft eligible players as it can. It wants the teams to attend the pro day.
Newt, so I just checked the NFL's website for the combine numbers. Kandra was number one with 33. Then it was Dippery and Downs with 32 each, and then Membu at 31, Jackson Slater at 31. So they were missing some names on the Pro Football Reference page, but again, no one came close to that 36 and a half number at the combine specifically.
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go with the over. I know I'm one of the few, but I'm gonna go with the over.
Okay. Hey, can I try to pivot this? Okay. So Newt, Aaron Graves is one of your guys, right?
Yeah, why you got to bring up like rip open a
predict his 40 and predict his vertical.
Aaron Graves 40 in his vertical. 4.9 for his 40. That
would be really good for a defense.
I know that's hopeful. And oh man, the vert. I don't know. 33 inches.
Okay. Oh, and do you want to do Barham or do you want to do Red Murdoch?
Oh,
I don't. Did Red Murdoch get an invite?
Yeah, he's invited.
But did Barham not get an invite? Barham got an invite, didn't he?
No. He did.
Those are Owen's guys.
Like if Owen has to pick one of his guys in this draft class to predict what he does.
Let's go. He's grouped in with the D lineman. He's not a linebacker. Oh, that's electric. He's going to be the number one in all those groups for all of those guys. Maybe not bench press, but he's going to be number one. He's going to have 40-yard dash. I think he'll be in the high 4.6s, low 4.7s. Like he's a former linebacker. He may have bulked up a bit, but he's still going to be like that's where he's going to win. It's going to be as a 3-4 outside linebacker, rush linebacker. He'll still be in like the high 4.6s.
Yeah.
Which may not be super fast for like edges. I'm sure. I just got hyped for that, but I don't think he's going to be top of the edge group or anything. But for the vertical, I do think he showed some explosiveness I was surprised by when it came off the edge last year. So I think he'll be pretty good. I think he could crack. I think he'll be over. He'll be like 39.5. Like he won't crack 40, but he'll have a good jump.
Okay.
Dalton, who's one of your guys in this draft?
For the combine specifically, or just my guys?
A player that you like. Yeah, one of your my guys.
One of my guys. I am still a Taylor Green guy as far as quarterbacks go.
All right, let's talk about what this man's going to test like. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Anthony Richardson 2.0. That's what we got, huh?
Yeah, but the difference is Taylor Green's a lot older than Anthony Richardson, which isn't a great endorsement of him. But what I do think, like I have Green with a late 3rd round pick, just because to me it's kind of like if this is what we get to see what would happen if Terrell Pryor got to play in like today's NFL.
Okay.
Where they actually where someone can actually use him correctly and not try to force him to be a really traditional NFL quarterback. So that's probably a guy. I think Green's going to run a sub 4.5.
Yeah, there we go.
But that's one of my guys. And then actually just looking at my list again, another guy that I got to mention is one of my guys. Have you guys watched running back? What do you guys think of Robert Henry Jr.? Running back from UTSA.
Running back from UTSA.
I haven't watched him.
I've heard his name. I haven't watched him yet.
So much fun. If he watching his tape, his best tape is the Texas A&M game, which is kind of nice because the one game where he had tough competition, he absolutely torched Texas A&M the entire game.
Yeah.
He's added to my list now. I got you.
Yeah, and that was one of Randall's guys as we were coming out of the summer.
Yeah, he's electric.
So
that's actually he's 24.
Especially for running backs, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
Hey, Dalton, why don't we pause? Because I know that you have another podcast you have to get to. So do you want to let everybody watching know who you are, all the other podcasts that you make?
So coming up here in a minute, I'll be doing our gambling show. Usually at 9:30 or 10 o'clock on Wednesdays on Degenerate Sports Network. And then we also do a draft show on Tuesdays at 9:30. Next week we will be doing our top 10 edge rushers. So definitely check that out. And then I do some writing over at the Raider Ramble. That's where I do most of my writing. I just put out a deep dive on Fernando Mendoza last week, like an 1,800-word deep dive on what Raiders fans can expect out of him, like a realistic expectation. So check that stuff out. Yeah. But yeah, that's where you can find me. You can also follow me on Twitter at Blackman_Dalton. But yeah, before I go, I did handicap a couple quarterback 40 times. I'll leave with this.
Nice.
Taylor Green under 4.5, Diego Pavia over 4.6. That guy is going to be really slow, I think.
Is it the short?
That
Is
would
it
be
the
a
short
death
legs? Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's everything. He's just this is not an NFL quarterback.
Oh, no one's arguing that. I think Sycamore over the summer was this guy's probably more like an NFL fullback, if anything. Just to kind of get him in there.
He's like what's his name? The Saints, Taysom Hill, but worse in every way.
You're just pulling out a shotgun and ripping him on him. Love it. That's a hell of a way to end Dalton.
Yep. Dalton, it was great seeing you.
Oh,
okay, so Owen, you wanted to pivot to quarterbacks. Go for it.
Yeah, so I have a couple props specifically, and I know so Dalton said he had Green going sub 4.5. I don't know if he's gonna run that fast. For me personally, I'm not super high.
Whoa, hold on. I'll take this. I'll take that money.
You think I get over 4.5 and you get
I'll take
under 4.5?
4.95 over under. I'll take the under.
Okay. All right, I'll take that.
All right.
Well, so that was one of the things was going to be fastest 40 time by a quarterback. The original line was going to be at 4.55, but okay. How many quarterbacks?
Oh, hold on. I'll take the under on that. Were you gonna not?
No, I would. I think
Okay,
Green will run
and that's
closer
not
to 4.55.
fun anymore then. But yeah,
Exactly. So I was going to move it and say, how many quarterbacks do you think go under 4.55? And I said the over under at 1.5.
I'll go 2. So I'll go the over.
Who's the second one?
I want it to be Cole Payton.
I don't know about that.
I'm trying to be. Look, listen here. I'm not trying to be like steady Eddie and
Did
have
Caden Salter get an invite?
I don't think
No.
so. No.
Okay.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to. I'm
Jalen
trying to go
Daniels.
against the grain.
Yeah,
Jalen Daniels has just tried not to throw his back out when he's running the 40, man.
I'll take the over. I think, or I'll take the under. I mean, I think only one quarterback hits sub 4.55. And maybe Taylor Green, if even him.
All right, so Green, we've all wait, Jim. Where are you with Green?
I would be with Green and Payton.
For
would be the
4.55?
two that I think, and that's why I was asking about Caden Salter.
Do you think that Green will be under like the 4.95? Do you think it'll be over or under?
Not under.
So like he'll either run 4.49 or 4.50. Do you think it'll be 4.50 or 4.49?
It's going to be in the 4.5s.
Okay.
And then the other one I have for quarterbacks is hardest recorded throw. And the line is set at 60.5. So I have some data for that. So typically the average is usually around like 56 is usually the average hardest throw. For reference, Josh Allen threw 62 miles per hour at his combine. Baker threw around 60. Josh Rosen was at 59 back in 2018. Malik Willis was at 58. Sam Howell was around 55 to 56. And like we've had some that were so low as like 48 or 49 miles per hour, but 60.5 is like you can rip it. Do we have someone who can go over 60.5?
I'm gonna go 60.5, and I'm also gonna say Taylor Green.
Hits the over on that one.
I'm gonna say Taylor Green again with that. So 60.5 throwing speed.
Yeah, miles per hour.
60.5 is it?
Yeah, that's the over under we're setting at 60.5.
Right.
So I have two names I want to invoke, but I don't know. Drew Alar is going to throw.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, because Drew Alar is still injured. I don't think he can throw.
We can do that. What do we call it? A push?
Yeah, so I think I'll take the over because I think between Taylor Green or Drew Alar, one of the two of them would hit it if they both threw. If no one throws, or like I think if the big guns don't throw, if they don't throw and they don't record it, like they don't get a number for them, we can push it. But I do think that Taylor Green at least will be throwing at the combine.
And my second name was Sawyer Robertson.
Really?
Well, like Carson Beck threw 58. So like,
I don't hate Carson Beck's arm like everyone else.
Stetson Bennett threw 58.
Oh, well, then I'm feel confident with that. Ryan Sparks hates Taylor Green. He thinks he's like serving fries at McDonald's.
But he loves Cole Payton. Make it make sense, Ryan. They both suck. I'm sorry.
They both suck.
I'm out on both of those guys, to be honest with you.
I love Taylor Green, the athlete. Taylor Green, the quarterback. I might take a shot on with the Mr. Irrelevant, but that's about it.
Okay, so
Taylor Green, the quarterback?
Yeah.
Newt, buy or sell this comment from Ryan.
All right, real conversation should be able to combine, focus on consensus 101, and just let the top 100 do. No, that's not fun. Why would I do that when I can't see the Javier Worthies of the world and the Chris Johnsons and all those? I want, yes, like I know where Ryan's coming from this. Like the snub list is real, and it would be nice for that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, NFL teams, they want to see the guys that they think are worthy of those higher draft picks, and they want to see really what they're made of. Obviously, for NFL teams, they care more probably about the interviews and the medicals than they do the testing. However, this is a really nice opportunity to kind of get all of that wrapped up in one. So with that, if I'm going to be spending a first-round pick on Xavier Worthy, I want to make sure that he can actually run like we think he can. Now, whether or not it was advised or not for KC to do that is, as we talked about, another conversation. But you want to know what you're getting from these guys. I guarantee Eamon Wari, as we talked about, made some money by having the testing
Matthew
that
Golden
he did.
too.
Matthew Golden, exactly.
Shamar Stewart definitely made some money at the combine.
You take a look at that and it's like better or worse. And I know, like with Ryan, you say Shamar Stewart, he's probably not too happy about that, but like there are conversations to be had there in both directions. I think you would really like to know that. And for your top 100 guys, you want to get eyes on those guys when you're there, especially so you have the conversation earlier rather than later. I mean, Indiana's Pro Day is not until April 1st. So we're talking about 5 weeks after the combine, 6 weeks almost after the combine.
And that's only 3 weeks before the draft.
Exactly. So if you can get that extra month to have that information in front of you, I think it's going to be, while it might not be as important once again as the medicals, as the interviews, it's still something you want to have.
And I want to add a couple more things. So first of all, the NFL is footing the bill for whoever gets the combine invite, right? They have to pay the travel as well as, the players are put up in a hotel for a week. So approximately 260 players get drafted. There's just over 300 combine invites, right? I think we're in like the 320s, 330s. So to increase the number of players to me is not the way to go, right? I would venture to say that the first player that is drafted that doesn't get the combine invite is probably going to be in round 4 or 5. Most of the top 100 players were invited to the combine, and it's there for the players to get their interviews done. Whether they participate in the events or not, for example, I don't know that the Navy player like Landon Robinson, Ryan, I don't know that a good combine gets him drafted, right? Like, I don't know that he could test so well that he gets himself drafted, because I don't think that that's what the combine's all about. NFL scouts made their recommendations for who got invited to the combine. There was a reason that Landon Robinson wasn't invited, right? The NFL, right? It was team scouts. So you just need to have the Bengals hire more scouts, and maybe he gets an invite. But all of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'd actively disagree with that sentiment. Not just that it's like slightly off. I would actively, and I feel like I do this a lot with Ryan in the chat, where like last year it was Harold Fannin, tight end 1, which I didn't even watch Harold Fannin. I was just that big a fan of Tyler Warren. But this year, or Cole Payton. Now we're talking about the combine. So sorry, Ryan, if you're catching a lot of strays here, but I think it's the most important to invite the 100 guys, and for those 100 guys, top 100 guys, to do some of the testing. Because if you're going to be investing a top 100 investment into one of these guys, you want to have the most context possible for what you're investing into. Yeah. The guys from 101 to 450, they're going to get brought in off tape or off of some other things. If a guy who's in the 442 on your board runs a 4.2, he gets moved up into like the top of the priority free agents. But okay, right. But a lot of these guys that run or test really well, but are already kind of like have undraftable tape, they're not going to suddenly become draftable because they tested really well. The teams would rather invest and give guys the rookie contract, because you're giving them a guaranteed contract or at least a contract that's going to be signed and dotted that they have to sign to because they got drafted. Based on the fact that you think they're more likely to make your roster than some of the UDFA guys are. Raw athleticism isn't a tell for if you're going to make a roster. It's going to be more so, does this guy fit my scheme? Do I think he's a smart enough player? Do I think he tackles well enough? Do I think he can play special teams? That's where you start getting the value in those later day 3 kind of guys, not so much raw testing numbers.
You know what I'd also like to know? How many players go the entire combine with 0 interviews? Like, so they're doing all this testing, but no team meets with them.
There has to be. I mean, once again, like I would imagine that because you're getting there because the team requests you. And I would think that part of that would be like, hey, that's part of their interview.
No, and I agree with that logic, but nobody releases like who had the fewest interviews at the combine. Like, we're not getting that information. Like, we need to start pounding the table and say, okay, which players had the fewest interviews?
I am probably in the minority in this, but I'm actually fine with like obviously like medicals because of HIPAA, but like the team interviews and all that, like staying more in house. I as a draft analyst, I want to like talk about what I see on tape. I'm not with an organization. I'm not with anyone where I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna like go with this guy because of X, Y, and Z. I'm just evaluating what I see, and that's like, you know, we talked about Akeem Messidor. He's a 6-year player out of Miami. There's a lot of things that are working against him. I still have him as a top 32 player. Do I think he'll go there? No, because of X, Y, and Z. I don't need to see into these guys to like have a opinion on them. And obviously, like the Walter Nolans of the world, and I don't want to like start throwing a ton of guys under the bus, but like they are going to have some issues because of those personality things. But I don't think it necessarily needs to be like out there for the world to see.
Yeah, and then though, like you can interview guys as much as you want, but I never heard anything bad about like James Pierce to the point where you've got to this point where he's at a point where he's probably not gonna play football after this or what he's going through currently. That was like, how much could you have gotten that from that in the interview? Clearly, the Falcons thought he was good enough to trade a future first-round pick to draft him. So his interview either had to be stellar, and then that was just an incorrect data point, or guys can change like that. And these interviews, maybe for initial impact, should have that. And like you can, like if you've been in the league for long enough and you've seen enough guys come through, you can gauge on minimizing that risk through these interviews. But like some of these interviews, sometimes it's a crapshoot on who they're going to be once they get that higher profile, that money, that ability to have that freedom. Where college, you're still regimented. You have classes. You're very much in a strict schedule. NFL, you punch in, do your work at practice or whatever hours they have you at the facility. You leave just like a normal job, and then you have that freedom. That's where guys get in trouble. Like you can't really gauge that based off of their college experience or how they interview with their previous knowledge of it being at the college level.
Yeah, and I want to maybe my comment was misinterpreted. I just want an interview count. I don't want to know what was discussed in the interview, but I would be curious, like if there's 320 players at the combine, how many players met with fewer than 3 teams? That type of information where it's like really, because that's where you can begin to see like, okay, well, if that player only met with 3 teams, he would be like the 6th or 7th round pick for those 3 teams. And
that is fair. Yeah.
But
like say Fernando Mendoza, how many teams is he going to meet with at the combine? Like we all kind of already understand he's going to go to the Raiders.
Well, the element about the combine too is you only get so many meetings, and that's why they talk about the Senior Bowl being so valuable with a lot of those. You know,
right? You get 100 interviews out of the way at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't have to waste your slots at the combine for that. And so there's probably I wonder maybe there are five teams that are interviewing Fernando Mendoza, and that's it. Shit, maybe there's only one team that's interviewing Fernando Mendoza. I don't think that'd be the case. I think that you're gonna see like your Jets, your Giants, your other teams like still like doing their due diligence.
Teams are allowed 45 interviews at the combine.
Like the Packers and the Bills aren't going to burn an interview on Fernando Mendoza. Like, there's no reason they would do that. So like he may only get 3. If you're like your number is 3, you said that 3, Jim. If he gets 3 interviews, but we all know he's going for some raw. It's sometimes that number might not be indicative of how high these guys are going to draft it. Maybe it's just that like, oh, these guys are kind of already set in when they're going.
Would it make sense for like the Chiefs and the Chargers to interview him and figure out how smart he is? Do you collect intel on your competition?
You can kind of get that though from like, I forget what the name of the test is, the IQ or the intelligence test they give.
The Wonderlic.
Yeah. Like you can get that information is freely accessible. It's more, I think interviews are all about personality. They can grill guys on like where they are when like, but you see the Brian Dable interview where he's throwing plays up on the board and having them fill it out or write it back to them. Like that is something that if you're going to invest into that quarterback and you want to make sure he can do that for your offense, sure, you want to put him through that. But I don't think you burn an interview just to gather intel on how good he is with that level of stuff.
I wouldn't put it beyond a team to do that, but 45 interviews isn't very many.
Right.
Right. So it's if you can get 110 out of the way at the Senior Bowl and you can get another 110 out of the way at the Shrine, your interviews in Indianapolis are either you want to follow up on something that you learned at the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl, or you can interview new players. Because I think it's safe to assume, right? Like Buffalo will be interviewing nearly every wide receiver that's there.
Yeah, I think they'll have guys on their list where they're like not a guy we like because of the film. We don't need to interview him. But anybody who has like a relatively draftable grade for them, or like that they're interested in bringing in for their roles, they're going to interview. Yeah.
Yep, because they have to make that sound bite that we get at the end of the draft. Newt, what position are the Packers focused on? Is it defensive back?
Cornerback, defensive tackle, interior offensive lineman.
Well,
At least.
How would you feel if they took Domani Jackson in round 2?
Dude, why would you even say that, Jim? You look at me at.
He hits all the Packers measurements.
It doesn't matter. He's still a shit player. I've never once mocked Domani Jackson to the Packers.
I know what Packers jersey I'm buying Newt this year.
Oh, I swear to God.
Yeah.
Guys, if he gets
Watch. Just watch.
It's gonna happen probably.
I
those who
was
don't-
If it
watching
happens-
Domani Jackson to the Packers in the summer.
If it happens in the 6th round, cool. That's like I'm fine with that. Like, yeah, I'll take Domani Jackson in the 6th round. He's a hell of an athlete. I think he's got some massive coverage and recognition issues to his game. But like, yeah, sure. 6th round with pick 220. Let's go for it. I'm fine with that. Pick 52. I'd lose my mind.
First pick of the entire class would be Domani Jackson.
I'd lose it, man. I should do that for I should do that for like an April Fool's joke on Cheesehead TV. I might
If
actually.
I live stream
There you go.
day 2 and that happens, I'm calling you live on stream to get your immediate reaction.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll be podcasting the draft live, so I'm sure we will. Like Newt, I have your phone number, so I'll call you while I'm on the air. But
That'd be hilarious.
why don't we pause for podcaster identification? So which of you two cheeseheads wants to go first?
I'll as the honorary cheesehead, I'm not an actual one.
Honorary.
I'll step up first. I am writing for the interior offensive line group, which Newt did just lay out as one of the top needs for the Packers.
It is, yeah. People are gonna be looking at it.
So I'm going to be writing their column on the interior offensive lineman, which I do have to add a couple names from this list in the combine that we didn't cover leading up to this. Me and Jerry Ostrowski on Tuesday nights on the Mr. Relevant podcast covered our interior offensive line and offensive tackles, which you can catch me every Tuesday and Wednesday at the same time slot covering this stuff. Sometimes on Fridays. I'm usually drafting for the Bills on those Friday mocks, so you can always catch my opinions there, or catch my opinions getting roasted by whoever is actually live reacting to them, especially my Elijah Sarah.
Ooh, I'm there in a week and a half. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's you and Dale in a week,
Yep.
I believe. Yep.
Yep.
Oh boy. Oh, and Dale, I'm sure Dale will whip me a new one. But
I hope.
other than that, Weekly Huddle on Twitter, Weekly Huddle on YouTube. I'm putting out some takes there. I'm starting to take my victory lap on giving Brian Thomas Jr. a 3rd round grade after this past season. That was my tweet I had today. I got some immediate blowback by some randoms on Twitter. So that might be a video that comes out soon of me just ranting about my initial grade on Brian Thomas Jr. So that's the kind of stuff you can catch over on Twitter and YouTube at Weekly Huddle.
I can't wait till Brian Thomas Jr. pops off for like 1,800 yards this year, 15 touchdowns. It's gonna
If
be
he
A
doesn't
3rd round
for
pick
Buffalo,
is still
that's not
it's still a good receiver.
3rd round pick is not 1,800 yards.
No, but 1,200, like he had his rookie year. They were like, "Did you say this after his rookie year?" I was like, I was ready to be wrong.
Puka got that, and he was a
Getting better.
round 4 pick, wasn't he?
Who?
Puka.
He was round
Puka.
5. I had a second round grade
Puka,
on him.
hold the phone. Puka's way different.
He had
That is
1,800
that is
yards
what
this
Owen-
year.
that is what Owen talked about though, with like he lost himself money because of the combine, because of like all the athletic testing there. That's like that. I mean, that's what started off the conversation, is because of like guys like Puka that unfortunately kind of fell away with that. But I digress. Newt Weston, you can follow me at NFL Draft _Weston on the app formerly known as Twitter. I do the draft content for Cheesehead TV. I am also writing for the Cheesehead TV draft guide. Phenomenal draft guide. If anyone out there is looking for one to invest in, it is well worth your time and money. I'll be writing edge and defensive tackle group up for that. I also have not been lately, but run zerotechdraft.com, where I'm so close to finally actually posting my first big board for this draft cycle and getting my thoughts out for that. So that'll be going up. My goal is March 1st. We'll see how that works out. But you can always find me here Wednesdays at, 9 p.m. Eastern time. I always got to do the conversion in my head. 9 p.m. Eastern time on the Draft Professor leading up to the NFL Draft.
I know that subtracting one can be really difficult.
It is.
For high school teachers. I know that.
It's challenging.
It is. So I want to first thank Owen, Newt, and Dalton for helping with today's podcast. So please give Newt and Owen a follow. We can't put this content out without both of them. So give them a follow. Newt just hit 1,000 subscribers, so he needs a pat on the back, needs to stroke his ego a little bit. He hit that 1,000 mark. That was really important to him. So,
man, I told you that in confidence, Jim, and now you're blowing me up about it.
You posted it in confidence. It was all over Twitter.
I told you it was important to me in confidence.
Oh, well, one of those was my son
man.
who just joined Twitter.
Oh, that's awesome. Tell your son thank you.
Yeah, so I was making sure, like, my son is asking me, like, okay, who's Newt's favorite team? Who's Owens? Well, he knew who Owens was, but he's like, okay, so what's Owens' Twitter? And stuff like that, right? My son is trying to check, like, everything out. He wants to know, like, do I have podcasters for this team, that team? It's really funny.
That is cool.
Ramsey, if you're watching, I love you. But also want to remind everybody about Epic Mock 26. That's going to be April 9th, 10th, and 11th. You're going to see Ryan Sparks drafting for the Bengals in that. You're going to see Owen drafting for Buffalo in that. You'll see Steve drafting for the Jets in that. Shane, I can plug you in if you're a Raiders person too. I can plug you in to where the Raiders war room is. That's with Marcus. And yeah, Lilia will be on the podcast with me for some of that. Chris will get you connected to the Jets. So Steve and company will have the Jets. But Epic Mock 26 is a 7-round mock draft over 3 days. So it will be 32 podcasters drafting against 32 podcasters, spread it over 3 days. It'll take us about 15 hours to do. But here's the added kicker. This year on Sunday, we're doing a UDFA podcast. So on Sunday, the podcasters will only talk about the players that were not selected in Epic Mock 26.
That's awesome. That'll be fun. That's a really cool way of doing it. Because there's going to be so many guys that we've talked about on this channel that are going to be well worth that conversation.
Like Luke Danger.
So those players just need a little bit more attention, but that also speaks to the talent of the draft professors, that they have boards deep enough that after 260 players get drafted, they're still going to be able to talk about another 100 players. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So April 9th, mark it on your calendar, get your favorite beverage. But Draft Professor is going to be here with 32 of our favorite podcasters all weekend.
Mad respect.
So for Newt, Owen, myself, for the 80 podcasters at the Draft Professor, thank you so much for watching. We will see you on a podcast again tomorrow.